Thank you so much for the opportunity. Today, Wondibani, it's a great honor and privilege on Eka and Tado Nifumaka topic. I'll be talking on how to assess local and overseas undergraduate and postgraduate scholarship. I will first of all start with my favorite quote by Nelson Mandela, which is that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. My objective here is just to create a little highlight of what it entails to apply for scholarship, both locally and globally, but also to give example of how to answer some of the questions. And at the end of the day, I hope that some of the students or individual listening would have a different mindset and a different approach towards approaching some of these opportunities when it comes. So just to start, I would mention some of the limiting factors and hindrances that might stop one from applying for opportunities or scholarship. The first thing I have here is growth or fixed mindset. So for you to apply for any scholarship or for you to apply for any opportunity, your mindset is very vital. The kind of mindset you bring. Are you bringing in a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? So what I mean by a growth mindset is are you seeing that there is an opportunity? Are you striking to meet your goals? Are you striking to work hard towards achieving it despite all obstacles? Like, are you ready to take up the challenge as it comes instead of thinking, okay, because you don't have money or because you don't have all the resources required, you wouldn't apply? The second thing I would say is grades. Yes, grades are important, but the other criteria that schools or scholarship committees usually consider. Intelligence, yes, is important, but and there are other ways, even if you don't have very good grades, to augment for it. But I would encourage those that are still in school to work harder. The next thing is rejections. Part of the challenge you experience while going through graduate school or graduate school application process for scholarship, fellowship.
Hello, Chidima, we lost your audio. You muted yourself. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know where you missed out on okay, but
rejection from rejections.
Oh, okay. So I said part of the process in applying for graduate school and scholarship is that you will receive a lot of rejection letters. Sometimes the rejections might even outweigh the acceptance you will have, but it's always good to remember that rejections are part of the building block for success. And sometimes rejections are not even about you. It could just be that there's a certain criteria or there's a certain people that their admission committee wants to attract. So at that point, what an individual applying for scholarship needs to do is to go back to the drawing board, find out how they can make better applications or put in better efforts, more than what they did the last time, just to get to the top 10 or the top best students that will be selected. Another thing I would mention here is that there are challenges that an individual might have. So it's good at the beginning stage when you're still preparing, you go back to your drawing board to find out what are the challenges, write out your strategies and take them from different steps. And each of them will keep going side by side till you get to your end goal. Another hindrance one can have is finances. Yes, the money might not be there, but the truth is it takes a community to take a child, to train a child. Once there is a will, there is a way. But we must see your dedication, we must see your commitment towards a cause. And once you've put in effort, believe you me, doors will open. And there are many opportunities that you don't even need money to apply for. All you need to do is to write an essay and you will get in once you do the perfect things. I would run off from here, but finally, I want to say that you must see every opportunity when you're applying for both scholarship or for fellowship or whatever it is, both locally or globally, as an opportunity for personal and career development. It's also an opportunity to network and build your portfolio as a professional. Now, going over to the scholarship, there are different kinds of scholarship. I'm going to just talk about both the local and the global scholarship together just because of time constraints. We have the general scholarship, just like the Chevening scholarship, the Commonwealth scholarships. The general scholarships are scholarships that are open to every individual on the pool, or to every individual, irrespective of your discipline, irrespective of your gender, irrespective of subject matter. You can send in an application as far as you meet the criteria or the eligibility portfolio. And also schools usually give tuition waivers, which can be regarded as general scholarships. While specific scholarships are scholarships like positions that can be offered to you as TA positions in schools, or even scholarships that are targeted to gender, a particular gender, just like the PEO scholarship that I won. You could also have scholarships from institutions which are targeting a certain professional or a certain people from, let's say, Black men in developing world. It all depends. Now, what should you look out for when you're applying for some of these scholarships? There are certain criteria that most scholarships look out for. One is your career plan. Now, when we're looking at career plan, we're not just looking at your general career plan. It also includes your plan or your professional progression as an individual. They look out for your leadership experience. Now, people always say, I don't have leadership experience. No, your leadership experience even start counting from your role. Let's say, for instance, in the church, it starts counting from your role in the family. How are you able to tell your story, or how are you able to position yourself? That would help you to distinguish yourself and stand out. No matter how little you think your story is, you never know if that is the story or that's the kind of candidacy a committee is looking out for. The next thing they want to see is your ability to network. Network in terms of building network among other professionals, using your network to produce impactful results in your community. And also they want to look at academic achievements. So now another thing I want you to note at this point before I move on to the next point is that there are deadlines towards applications to school. I had already recorded an intro video on how to apply to schools, which I will share the link to the organizers so you can go back and watch it if you're interested to learn how to make applications to school. Now, there are essays to be written. Different scholarship bodies or international organizations have different criteria. Recently, some of them have started requesting that people record some audio or make an innovative project just to portray their candidacy. So it could come in different form, but you must be aware of what the word limits are and make sure that you're perfectly meeting up with all the criteria. And also another thing to think about is the objective of the scholarship. So for instance, I won the PEO scholarship. And under the PEO scholarship, they're looking for women from developing countries who are interested in going for graduate school, but at the same time are interested into pushing the cause of women and girls towards promoting peace. Now, if you don't meet that criteria, you don't have any business applying for such a scholarship. Or if you meet the criteria to a certain extent and you think, okay, I'm missing out on some point, then that's where you go back to build, or that's where you tell out what you've already done to meet a criteria. So let's say, for instance, you work with a general focus, but your project or your work previously has been focused on both male and female, and you want to apply to such a scholarship. Now you need to narrow down your narrative to focus basically on how your project has impacted and would impact women. Moving on to the next slide, there are different stages for applications. At the first stage, you have to identify the type of application, you have to identify the deadlines, you need to find out what the eligibility criteria are. And you also need to have a tracker where you're filling in your documents with all the information you need, including the date for submission. If there are actions to be taken, you need to have that in your tracker as well. Once you've identified the application you want to make, the next step is to prepare. And preparation stage also include, like, for instance, those that want to travel outside the country, getting a passport. It also include having contact with mentors to discuss with them about their experiences, or even to talk with other people. So there are different things that come under the preparation stage, but it's always important for you to go with the different stages just to make sure you don't miss any details out. And sometimes it's also good to start preparing a year or 2 years ahead, even though it's not late to start now, for instance, for those applying this year. But it's always good to have your portfolio, like you start building it ahead of time. I usually suggest to some of my mentees to have a one document strategy notebook for application, for job, whatever it is. You know, you document your process and you document some of the things you've achieved. That way you can be able to take out whatever you need when you're applying for fellowships, for research grants, or for even scholarships. After applying, there is a waiting stage. At the point of waiting, you might be called in for interviews, and after interviews, different offers might be made, and the offers might also include the rejections. But if you have rejections, you move on. But if you don't, and you have a lot of scholarships, you might have to choose one. So the next thing I just want to remind the audience is that there are sacrifices to be made. It's like having a full-time job, applying for scholarships. You're going to spend a lot of time on the internet, scouting out for resources, looking out for people to talk to, looking out for professors that you want to write to see how your work meets up to the criteria of the work that they are doing and how you can get involved. You need to make the effort, obviously. You need money, you need a good mindset, you need dedication, and most importantly, you need the grace of God. Or, I mean, I know most of us on the call are Christians, but whatever you believe in, you always need to go with your faith as you apply. Now, just go ahead and give us an instance of what an application question, or sorry, a sample essay question, what it looks like and how to answer it. So this is one of the questions I had in one of my essays. And now it's asking the question, we want to get to know you better. Tell us about your family and why education and breaking through barriers for women and girls is important to the person you are now and the person you hope to become. Now, here, there are different questions. Under one question, there are different categories of questions, but the applicant needs to bear in mind that the organization wants to get to know you. In answering this question, you must make sure that the first thing you answer is about your family, telling them about your family. And the second thing is to tell them why education is important towards breaking the barrier for women and girls to you, and then to who you intend to become. Now, even if you're writing this question, you need to simplify it in such a way that it's easy for people. The art of storytelling is important when writing essay questions when it comes to fellowship and scholarship applications, because it helps the audience, it keeps them attentive. You want to be that candidate that the committee, even after reviewing so many applications, remember, you want to be that candidate that, used your story to talk about your journey and it resonates with them. Now, I would always say, and I will always advise, like when an applicant is applying for scholarship application, you might have different portfolios of things you've done. Now, you can't use all your portfolio in all the aces. You have to find the one that works. So for instance, if I'm applying, I would only be talking about social justice initiative that I've done when it relates to women and girls. I wouldn't be talking about, say, for instance, other activities that I've done, maybe being an entrepreneur or being in business, because it doesn't relate. I want to have a narrative that flows, because I'm introducing myself as a lawyer who has been working with women and children, things like that. So the next thing I have here is the application tracker with timeline. So in developing your application tracker, you need to know the type of application, the action to be taken, the deadline, individual timelines, and also set reminders. In certain reminders, you might need to find mentors, you might need to find accountability partners, or you might even need to have someone that is also on the same journey as you are, that would always have a constant reminder and you can share ideas with. Another thing to look out for is opportunity to interact with people, like on Zoom calls like this one. People usually share their ideas. They usually share tips that have helped them on those calls. And also, when some schools host their open houses, they might share information that ordinarily you might not find on the website, or ordinarily they wouldn't share to the whole public. Now, there are resources that are available to applicants that might be interested. You can sign up for newsletters from different institutions that might have sponsorship, that might have opportunities posted there. You can also use the Google Alerts to save up on scholarship or different keywords. That way you can be able to track your progress with some of the application. You can use social media as a tool. You can find key industry leaders, and you can look for opportunities on some opportunity and education websites like Opportunity Desk, Opportunity for Africa, Getting Education, etc. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Barrister.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.